I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:31. Welcome everyone and ask everyone's patience for almost 1 year since we started our Zoom meeting.
Yeah, amazing.
Based on the governor's executive orders. We're still struggling with it, but we're getting a little better here and there anyway. So the meeting is called to order at 6:31. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the regular meeting held on February 23rd, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of February 23rd, 2021.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a COVID-19 update from our health district. Scott Martinson and Sherry Carlson are here. Thank you again for coming to this meeting and keeping everybody apprised of how we're doing.
Sure. Thanks, Angus. Yeah, vaccines are going great. We'll start out with that. After Monday, we're at 9,013 total vaccinations. So we're really moving along quite nicely. I was thinking about the numbers today, and it's actually about 8 years worth of flu shots we've done in about 2 months. So
Wow.
you're certainly moving and grooving. It's really going well. Allocation's still an issue in the state. I anticipate over the next couple of weeks, though, it's going to be pretty much whatever you need to order, however many shots you can get out. I think the J&J, which we saw the other night, worked out really well. It's a one and done. It takes a lot of the aggravation away that people are seeing with scheduling second doses and such. It's 100% effective preventing death and severe illness. So as long as people aren't focusing on those efficacy rates, which they really shouldn't be, because they're all three really darn good vaccinations. Whatever's available, we recommend people take, and whatever's available to us in bigger quantities, we order. So looks like this week we're going to be getting more of Moderna. Not sure on J&J. They did need a couple week pause after the EUA came out. They had to ramp up production, but certainly it was a success. I was kind of nervous if it would fill up, if people were focusing on the type of vaccine, but that 200 dose clinic filled up in about less than an hour. So people are ready. People statewide are sitting on VAMs ready for any available appointment open up. You're seeing a lot of options throughout the state. Fortunately, we're not the only game in town. There's some great large sites out there that are certainly helping with the effort. So we're here doing our little piece down here. But, when you look at a 20-mile swath of our address, it's really kind of a vaccine desert. So it's really good we're here because there's not many options for our people. Plenty in the cities, plenty to go to West Haven, Hartford. But 20-mile radius shows us, and that's it. So we are proud to be here, and we'll continue doing what we do. And that's pretty much it. Sherry, you want to touch on a little bit how it's going? She's the one making it happen.
Oh, well, no, it's a great team effort. And I think part of what people do see when they come is, all the people that are at our clinics are community based. They're all excited to be that ray of hope. And we've been dealing with people being sick for a year. And now, all the nurses are from all of our school districts. We're really excited that by Saturday, anybody that was a teacher or worked in any of our school districts or our daycares have all had the private opportunity to get vaccinated. So that will be completed as of Saturday. Again, to reiterate what Scott said, you can't compare apples and oranges. And that's what you do when you compare the efficacies of the percentages with the Moderna. They were tested at a whole different period of time when there were no variants, and J&J is actually shown to be very good against the variants too. So we're not going to be doing a menu of options. What's there? It'll be a Moderna night or a J&J night, and shots in the arms.
Great. That was a terrific article in the Middletown Press today. Talking, or maybe yesterday, talking about the Old Saybrook clinic and how it's been a model for the state. And really,
oh, that's nice. I'll have
fantastic job that you're doing. I'll send you a link if I can find it.
Yep. Great. Yeah, and then I was just gonna say, Angus, on the case front quickly, it was kind of odd, for a few weeks, you saw the cases, we were going way down. In the last couple, we've kind of ticked up, not in Deep River, but district wide. So just to, make sure there is still a lot of community transmission happening within the state. I looked at the positivity rate today. It seemed like it was almost 4, where it was like 2. So it is teetering a bit.
Yeah.
We've also, there's, people have to remember, even after vaccination, there's, a percentage chance you can still catch it. We've already seen that with people that have had second doses. So we're still encouraging people, follow the CDC guidance. That's good guidance that came out. But take note that if you're not with unvaccinated people or people who haven't been vaccinated, you really still want to keep wearing your masks.
Yep.
And we're trying to premise that because we don't know enough about who's a carrier still, who could transmit it to such and such. So anything to add on that, Sherry? Because I know that new CDC guidance came out. It was a little bit confusing when you read it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's about, if you're vaccinated and you're around already vaccinated people that are of your home, feel free to keep your masks off, or of low risk people. But, if you're out in the community or in any mixing, like schools still have to do it and all that. But it's just kind of like a little relaxed atmosphere in your own circle of people that you're around if you're vaccinated.
Yep.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that was a little bit confusing. But back to the transmission, Scott, you were mentioning, we were doing great after the holiday bump. Deep River was doing really, really well, and then all of a sudden we had 3 weeks, I think, with 9 new cases each week. Which was quite a spike from two and 1 and 3 up to 9. I was very glad to see that this week we just had 2. So
yeah,
that
I had a little bit of a hypothesis. I was kind of looking at the data from east to west again, and when I looked at the cases the prior week as compared to this week, each town all along the shore kind of went up, all the way up until the Rhode Island border. So, I'm thinking it's mobility.
I was
where are people going right now? They're hanging along, along the shoreline. They're traveling. They're eating out a little bit. They're not really going inland much because you still see, parts of the state that are doing really well, right?
Yep.
But we're starting to tick up again. And the only thing I can think about is just more people being active, right?
Yep.
And maybe not as careful as they were, but we'll see.
I was thinking that, and I was actually looking at where people probably are working, go to Saybrook, Middletown, Guilford, where people are going to their jobs. And Deep River, people are traveling to get to their work. And as they go back.
The only other 2 things I had is just to remind people that, after this week, we'll be reopening for the 55 plus. We just did that minor pause to get the educators, and that, that we will be offering both. So people don't think that we're.
Notice out.
Yep.
We'll get that notice out. Well, listen, does anyone have any questions for Scott and Sherry?
I got 2 things, nothing major. Is there any, you mentioned that people are living on VAMs. Is there any tips that you guys could give that Walgreens announces on Sunday nights, or is it just hit or miss, or is there? I don't know if that's what I keep hearing. I'm trying. And
great question. We have no idea.
Midnight, and I got one at midnight. So I didn't know what the deal was.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We have no idea about any of the other sites. They add just arbitrarily. It could be a Sunday night at 2 a.m.
Okay.
There's so many now, and they each have their own portal, that BAMS is maybe a fifth of what people are going through now, because the hospitals have it. I know Yale New Haven Health has my chart. CVS has their own links. Walgreens has their own links.
Middlesex has got it now too.
Yeah. Well, what I do for our clinics, though, Jim, is I let Angus and the leaders of the town know, just as a heads up. We're obviously open statewide because it's a state asset, but the majority of the people that come through our clinics are through the 8 towns that I'm covering right now with this. But it's also good that we're helping out some neighboring towns.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But
it's-
I give them a little heads up when the slots are going to go up, so at least our town membership have an idea that, look on BAMs. But they all fill up really quick from all
Well,
over the state.
That kind of led me into the second one is JT Dunn down there in Saybrook is always touting the Saybrook numbers. And Saybrook has an extremely high vaccination rate. And
The highest in the state.
you guys are doing all the towns and Saybrook. And it just, I didn't know if it was every, and it's supposedly it's not, but every person that's vaccinated in Saybrook is that Saybrook's number, or I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, no, our area is noticed because we're high everywhere. When you look at 30%, actually Essex was even a tad above Saybrook.
Oh, okay.
But they also tap into pharmacies. There's a Nutmeg pharmacy in Essex that's kind of tailoring to the Essex population where they, we have to be equitable in our clinic, but I don't know what other local pharmacies are doing with their people. They get small allotments and they may just say, hey, I just want Essex residents. That's out of our control.
Okay.
But it is a state asset, so we do have to open it up statewide. But I'm also responsible for Deep River before anyone else, hence the reason why we communicate a lot about what slots will be opening and when. That way it gives your 55 and ups coming up a little bit of a head start, against the masses coming in from all over the state, actually sometimes from out of state as well. So,
and Jim, we have also, as all towns have, we've tried to get all the towns, as I know Angus has done, is to help people get on. But any of our town members that call us, that have been 85 or plus, I can't tell you how many emails that I've created and got them into VAMs and all that kind of stuff. So, I know you guys have done that as well. And so have a lot of the towns. So that's how, we're working. That's why it's such a great community effort, is because we're really all taking care of each other.
it just kind of melds into place, as Sherry said. So I think, it's going to get tougher though. It's just because a lot of people forget, unless Connecticut starts using more J&J, you get that bottleneck of second doses inevitably, right? So we have to decide as a clinic, and the state really has to decide, if you can get 200,000 J&J in the state or 200,000 Moderna or a mix, how do you want to play this going forward, right? So J&J would increase almost double our output of first dose vaccinations or fully dosed people,
right,
because we're not having to come back and pause clinic time for second doses. So it'll be very interesting going forward what's going to happen, but more to come.
Scott, you said a couple times now, J&J and Moderna. You haven't said anything about Pfizer's. You aren't doing any Pfizer's?
No, they have different cold hold requirements. They require an ultra cold freezer that few places in the country really have, but UConn has one, some community health clinics, and we actually do have one purchased by Norm Needleman in Essex, but we keep it up and running. That would be a last resort though, because it's a little bit trickier to work with. But if it was ever a week where they said, hey, crad, we had no Moderna, we have no J&J, we certainly would entertain that idea, but a lot to work with.
Yeah, and part of the problem for the community at large is like finding, if we've always been a Moderna, like other places have been Pfizer, and, and people are getting confused on where to find their second dose by type, and some people just come back to us because they think everybody has it. But even though, we always try to, everything's communicated on the registration site, but that's where people get confused at times.
You have to be really careful because we have people sign up for our Moderna second dose clinics wanting a Pfizer shot.
Oh,
right. So, our nurses really got to be careful with that stuff. There's no mechanism in VAMs or anywhere else that prevents a second dose person from signing up for any available second dose. So it's kind of a difficult, imperfect system, but that's part of the challenge of the clinic. But
I was just curious because my in-laws got the Pfizer's over in Waterford at the CVS, and I was just curious. That's all.
Yeah. I would imagine CVS has a pretty good rescheduling system. I mean, their throughput's not like ours, 400 or 500 in a few hours. they methodically do it, which is fine. I mean, they're a big partner, but if they do, 6 to 10 an hour, I'd be shocked. So they
Yeah.
probably track them as patients.
It was
So
really
hopefully they'll
funny.
get a notification.
Right, the Thursday before the vaccine opened up for 55 and over for my group, I helped a fellow get himself signed up, and we ended up at the CVS site, and it was a piece of cake, and it was first and second. And then Sunday night, I got up at midnight to try to register, and I was never able to get myself registered. I've been open for 2 months. It just really jammed up. And really, my advice is to everyone is just be patient and be persistent. Fridays is when things get released. You just got to keep on trying, because
Yeah, that's all.
I was calling every number. Nutmeg Pharmacy has been very responsive to people. They've been great. CVS is an easy website. Walgreens, I didn't work with, but I think they're just as easy. VAMS is difficult, but it works. You just have to be persistent, and you have to be patient.
Yep, absolutely.
Lori, I see your hand up.
Yeah, just wondering how long are the vaccines actually going to be available?
Great question. Until everyone that wants one has the opportunity to get one. So I don't know, based on the Biden's plan, he's thinking availability for all US adults, May-ish, right? So I would imagine, if I had a crystal ball, I'd say certainly we, if as long as things go well, would vaccinate throughout the summer, probably end maybe in June. And then you got to remember, if we're still doing Moderna, then that means we're ending the end of July if we did end of June shot. So that's optimistic. I don't know. We're going to reach different groups where there's going to be maybe different hesitancies. We don't know what that 18 to 28-year-old group will be like, or if they're going to want it, But once all the numbers start coming in, we always hear about that 60 to 70% vaccination rate, which you need to start to get herd immunity. If everyone that's been offered and we're only at 40 to 50%, then the state has some challenges ahead to address vaccine hesitancy. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So far, the groups have been really good. Like, certainly demand outweighs supply, but that could flip. So I don't think that'll flip right away, but it will, and it could. So we'll see what happens.
I've got a 74-year-old friend that had COVID with basically non-symptoms back in the summer. And I asked him if he was going to get the shot, and he says, nope.
Yeah. And
it's like, why? I can't question his personal decision, but I'm thinking, why?
Yeah. Well, it'll be the same for like flu. I have a 21-year-old, and he'll be like, he won't get it unless I force him somehow or bribe him. So, I mean, it's just going to be the way it is. I mean, there's going to be
but Jim, asking the question is not a bad thing. I always ask people with the flu, just because I'd like to know, you have the right to make a decision, but I'd like you to be making an educated decision and not on false information that you may have just heard from somebody who doesn't know the facts. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one question though.
Sure.
Some of us cannot get the vaccines, plural.
Yep.
What is I'm going to be around people who have all received it. Doesn't mean they can't pass it on.
Good
Some of
point.
us can't get it.
Like are you talking from like a medical reason?
Medical reasons, multiple medical reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be something you'd want to talk with your physician with, I think, probably depending.
That's why herd immunity is important as well.
Yeah, see, that's what they kind of account or try to account for. Yeah, you're right. That's a good one.
Any other questions? Once again, Scott and Sherry, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing for the community,
no
for Deep
problem.
River, and for all of our surrounding communities. And I really, really appreciate the updates every month. So.
Anytime.
Yep.
Good,
These are great.
good vibes going forward. All right, we'll talk muster in a couple months, Angus.
Yeah. Now we got Memorial Day coming before that.
No, we'll do that first. All right, see you guys.
See you guys later.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is audience of citizens. Anyone have any business to come before the town? I don't hear anything. Hearing none, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, and we are running short on time. I'm going to give you a quick, we actually don't need to make a decision tonight anyway. We probably should be talking to the Board of Finance about it. But the next item is the Economic Development Commission's proposed survey budget. The EDC, as you know, we've put $5,000 in their budget a couple of years ago. They're entitled to much more, but that's what we decided on. And they're entitled to that by virtue of the ordinance that created the commission. But they've been working quite hard to try to come up with an organization to put out a townwide study, something similar to what Old Lyme did a couple of years ago, and really survey all of the population with a series of questions about what they think about the economic development of the community, and with pointed questions that they're working with this group called Advanced CT. I think Advanced CT is also who did the Old Lyme group. The cost for that is about $8,000. They've only got $5,000 in their budget. So they're asking, they've moved to move forward with the survey, but they're asking for the Board of Selectmen or the Board of Finance to fund the remainder of that survey. I think that we'll discuss it a little bit today. We can ask Pete or someone from the EDC to come to us and talk to us a little bit about it if you like. And maybe we could do that jointly with the Board of Finance at our next meeting. I think our next meeting, the next regular meeting is the 23rd. So we could do that then. But I wanted to give everyone a heads up that that's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking to do. I think it's an exciting way to see how the community wants to move forward. Hopefully we get a good response.
Has this ever been done before, Angus?
Not in Deep River that I'm aware of.
Okay.
That $5,000, is that 5,000 that's been put in the budget? Refresh me, that they put in the budget every year and just not used, or?
No, they've used it for signs and things like that over time. This year, I think they spent some money already on some research that they were doing, but this is a $7,500 or $8,000 cost.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, kind of, is if they haven't been using it fully in the past and they want to use it more than fully this year, then they're probably, they're making up for lost time, which ultimately for the town would be good.
Well, I think EDC, it's good for them to do that, but it's also great for the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance to support that effort. So
yeah,
I think it's a good thought. We don't have to act on it today. I think we'll get talk with the Board of Finance about it at our next meeting.
Okay.
Go from that.
Good.
Sounds good.
Any questions? Any other thoughts? And that's really good timing, so we can move ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn at 6:54.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then you can
I'm
include.
unmuted.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. I hope that there was some good information, and let's all be careful and be well.
Earlier, so.
Bye now.